All right, so now that we've done all this stuff by hand, box plots and data, which is important, by the way, because quite a handful of the stuff that's on your EOC, you're expected to be able to do without a calculator. So you need to understand the basics of how to find all of these pieces of data. However, I want to show you how to do these things with a calculator because a lot of times the calculator, it obviously can be quicker, but we can use it to look at larger sets of data and kind of find some trends and do some more in-depth kind of thinking things with those. All right, so we're going to do one example in your calculator. And this is the example we're going to do, and our goal is going to be to draw a box plot with this information. So what I would like for you to do is go ahead and copy down this data that you've been given right here. So copy down this set of data, and then go ahead and draw yourself the number line so that you have a space to put your data on once we get all the information from our calculator. All right, make sure you have your calculator and you're following along, or you're going to get lost and be confused. Also, I'm just going to show you the screenshot, so it's up to you to kind of make bullet points of what steps you need to be doing so that you have that to refer back to. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do before we start any of this is to clear the lists in our calculator. You could clear all the memory, but really if you just clear the list, that should be okay, and all the rest of your settings should kind of be where they need to be. So if you remember, when we do this, we're going to go to second, and then plus sign, which I can't really point to here, but you're going to hit the second plus sign, and then option 4 is going to clear all lists. And you'll just hit enter and then hit enter again, and it'll tell you that you've done that, so you're ready to move on to the next thing. All right, so we're going to first go to stat, and I guess I can show you that button just to make sure we're all on the same page. So you can go to stat here, and that's where we're going to go really to get to most of what we're doing because we're doing statistics. And you want to edit. So click edit, and that should take you back to that blank box right where we were when we did scatter plots. Got to get all this stuff out of the way, sorry. All right, bye-bye. So then you're going to enter your data. Remember, you hit enter after each line. And the only reason I specifically showed you this is if you toggle back up to the last data point, it should tell you that the last data point is the 13th data point, which is 2. And that just helps you check that you actually typed everything in right, that you did get 13, because the problem told us we had 13 pieces of data that we cared about. All right, so now this is not really a crucial step that I'm showing you, but it is important, and it's going to be more important kind of when we do some stuff later on, especially if we're trying to find mode. This can help sometimes. So one of the things that your calculator can do is to sort your data for you, so to put it from least to greatest so that you don't really have to think about how to do that. Which again, when you have, if you had 50 data points, that would be really important. So you're going to go back to that stat button, and option 2 says sort A, which means to sort ascending. That means it's going to count from the smallest to the biggest, which is normally what we want to do. Sort D is descending, which I guess could be important to you if you wanted it to be, but we're going to do sort ascending because that's more like what you do. So you're going to type that in, and notice it's going to bring you to this home screen on your calculator. So what I want to show you is I've already kind of done this part. Sort A, and you've got a parenthesis. So it's asking you what do you want it to sort, because it doesn't know. And I want it to sort list 1. So if you look on your calculator, second, and then right here above the 1 in blue, which is why we push second, is this L1, which is list 1. That's where we just typed our data. So you're going to hit, finish that out so that it says sort A, list 1, and hit enter, and it'll say done. And again, this is not a necessary step, but I'm just showing you kind of what that did. If you look in go back to stat and edit, right? So you're hitting that stat and edit button, and that should take you back. And notice now your data is in order. It grouped all the 1s together, all the 2s together, 3s, 4s. This would be helpful when you're finding mode, like I said just a minute ago. So just kind of keep that step in mind, even though you may not put it in your list of processes to do every single time. All right, so now let's kind of move forward on how to find some of the data measures that we're interested in. All right, so we're going to go back to that stat menu, and we've been in this part of the stat menu before. So this is stat, and we're in the calc part of the menu. So the last time we did linear regression, because we were comparing 2 sets of data, we were finding lines of best fit for scatter plots. Well, today we're just doing one variable, because remember, we only entered one set of data. We didn't enter X and Y, we just entered basically an X value. So we want one variable statistics, and we're just going to hit enter on that. And I think it may take you to a little menu where you just kind of hit enter for a second until it's like says calculate. But if you do that enough, and honestly I think you only hit enter like 2 or 3 times, it's going to spit out this screen. Okay, I unintentionally lied to you on the last screen. I had a setting wrong on my calculator, but we should be back on track now. So this is actually what your screen should look like. Do notice that there is a down arrow here on the left side, and so regardless of what style calculator you have or age, you should be able to scroll down and end up getting 2 screens worth of information. So take really good notes in this section so that you know like how to interpret all of the data it's giving back to you, because it is labeled a little bit differently than you might anticipate. So this first part, this X bar, is the mean. So that's giving you the average. It's going to go ahead and calculate that for you. That's a really important one. The next one's not really important, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. This sigma is this is a Greek letter, sigma, and it means sum, and you're going to see that especially when you get to algebra 2. So that means summation, and that's just when you add all the numbers together. If you added that whole list together, you would get 35. N down here means the number of terms. So which you already knew that there were going to be 13 because we talked about 13 games, I think, in this instance. So this is just the number of terms or data points that you have. Now, another one on here that might be important to you, well, I think it is going to be important to you because this is not fun to do, is this one right here. This right here is the, goodness gracious, my words. This is standard deviation, sorry. Standard deviation. And remember, standard deviation wasn't so bad on that one example because we just had 6 data points, but if you had 13, that would really take you a long time to find the differences, to square them, particularly if the mean is not a pretty number, right? Like the difference between 2.69, blah, 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 sounds really terrible. So make sure that you know that's how you find standard deviation, the easiest way to find that. All right, this second screen is what's the best screen for box plots, so maybe put that as a little note to yourself. The second screen is where you want to get your box plot information. Notice what all this second screen gives you. All right, so it gives you the minimum and the maximum, which remember, that's your like lowest dot and your highest dot. I'll go ahead and graph this one for us. This is 1, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then it gives us our median here in the middle. So on 2, that's the median. Remember, that's like that middle part of the box. Then it gives us quartile 1. That's the one in between the middle and the lowest. So this is kind of weird. In this example, Q1 and M are the same thing. So there's not like a lower portion of the box. So this is your whisker down here at the end. And it's like the lower side of the box is the same as the middle of the box. This is, so if you want to like label that, this is Q2 and the median, just so you see that it looks funny. And then Q3 is 3.5, so that's going to give me that upper quartile. So 3.5 right here in the middle. So there's the upper part of my box and my upper whisker on that side. So that's the easiest way to kind of draw some of that box plot, because you can make the calculator give you all that data. Like I said, particularly when you got a lot of data points.